Good afternoon. I'm coming to you from a really windy meadow in Wemyss Bay. So hopefully you can hear me okay. If you can't hear me, then if you can just say, then I'll try and move somewhere a wee bit more sheltered. I've got the jacket on this week for the first time because it's not the warmest today, and it'll probably rain any minute, normally as soon as I start talking. So how's everyone's week been this week? How have you been feeling? How have you felt physically and mentally? Has it been a busy week for yourselves? Has it been a quiet week? I'd love it if you put in comments how your week's been, or the thing is, just think to yourself, because often we're so busy, rushing through a week and getting through each day and completing all the huge lists of tasks that hi Tracy that most of us seem to have all the time. We don't actually reflect about how this week's been. For us, that's quite useful to have a little Friday time to ourselves to do that. So from my part, my week's been actually quite reflective, because we had to shut the office because there's all this road resurfacing going on outside of Belleville. So it's given us a bit of time just to have some time to work from home and really reflect about what's going on at Belleville and how we move forward. Hello Ruth, lovely to see you. Hopefully you can all hear me okay. So because I've had a reflective week, actually I'm not feeling so tense on my shoulders. So I don't know where you're carrying tension this week. How are you feeling in your body? Where's it feeling stiff and sore? And is there something that you can do even just for the moment to relieve that? So I feel my tension a little bit in my lower back, and I make that even worse by sitting in exactly the wrong place to watch telly. So I've been trying to move to a different seat to sort of even out my where it feels stressful in my back. So sometimes little things you can do like that can help. And I don't know whether these mindful sessions have had an effect on you at all. I think if you miss one, sometimes a thing to tell is, if you miss one of these sessions, does it make a difference to you? Sometimes, are you having a little bit more self-awareness each week? And so if you miss a session, do you realise it and think, actually I'm looking forward to next week's session? Sometimes that's a way to tell that mindfulness is working. So today we're going to talk all about trees. I'm standing next to the most beautiful tree. Look at this. Look at this. This is a sycamore that was planted here in Victorian times, and it's got a particularly twisted stem. Look at this. Beautiful twisted stem as it goes up the tree. Sycamores actually aren't completely native to the UK, so they were brought in, it's thought, by in Roman times or in the 1500s. So I'm just watching the sycamore and how it reacts to the breeze, because it is really windy. Sycamores are very good in coastal areas for being able to cope with the wind, and thank heavens for that, because it is certainly very windy. And this meadow is right next to the sea. Look, I'll show you where we are. Hopefully it won't make you seasick by me spinning round, but that's the sea there in Wemyss Bay. So we're next to Wemyss Bay beach, so it's coming right off of Bute and Arran, this sort of southwesterly wind, the prevailing wind. So I'm just going to take you up and look at the bark. Oh, it's nice, everyone said hello to each other. Oh, that's lovely. So if you look, there's beautiful colours, and it's sort of laying almost like in plates on the bark there. And there's lichen growing up it, and obviously these little crevices. Oh, here, I've just ripped one off. These little crevices are home to all sorts of different creatures. So here, aphids love things, trees like sycamore, so they release sticky sort of honeydew, and there are lots of other insects that feed on the aphids. So it's home to a whole sort of cycle of life. So little creatures like ladybirds absolutely love feasting on aphids. So it's home to a whole cycle of life. Unfortunately, there is another cycle, which is a cycle of death, which is unfortunately on this tree at the moment. If I show you what I found here. So right at the base of the tree, you can see a wee slug here, and this horrific looking fungus, which, it's all part of life, isn't it? The cycle of birth and death. And this, unfortunately, will be the end of this tree. It looks to me like it's black sooty fungus. which is coming into the UK, a bit like Dutch elm disease. It's another one of those diseases that once it attacks a tree, there's nothing you can do about it. So unfortunately the owners of this tree will have to pick a time to have it felled. But the only thing is that when you have a tree like this and you're in charge of it, it's important to consider. Normally trees, they do drop their leaves and they drop the boughs and their branches, and that actually goes back into the soil and the nitrogen's released and it feeds the trees, which is just fantastic. And often if we are, by clearing away all of these leaves, we like to keep everything clean and tidy, don't we? Actually, we're not releasing all that nitrogen back into the soil. It's amazing trees, isn't it? So it's like how you can, take your arm off to feed yourself. So sometimes I think when we are in charge of these forestry areas, we don't pay that in mind. Oh, hi Robert, how are you doing from Inverkit? I'm just down the road in Wemyss Bay today. Hi Iris. It's good to see everybody here. So I'm going to go hunting. It's the end of the season for a wildflower meadow, but I've found some bits and pieces that you might be interested in. This little one here looks a bit nondescript, doesn't it? It has a lovely reddish flower during the summer season. And this is salad burnet, so I'm going to taste a bit. It's got like a cucumber taste, and it's really good if you like a white wine spritzer. It's nice in a white wine spritzer, so it's got like a cucumber, quite strong cucumbery flavour, and slightly furry leaf. This was actually meant to be a cure for the plague many years ago. It was touted as, and it is great that actually if you have a meadow like this that's full of these different types of herbs, if you had grazing animals, they're grazing on all these different types of herbs. So it's not only going into meat, I suppose, if you were to eat the meat, but also in terms of their stomachs. They're getting all the healing from these sort of herbs into their diet, a much richer, varied diet than just a plain sort of grass. So that's a salad burnet, quite an old plant, and you see it's self-seeded, so it keeps coming up and up. There's another one. Oh, another one's back up the way. We'll go and find it, and now it's starting to rain, but we'll keep going. Yeah, this was the mother plant. So this first came up, and it was just made its way here. I don't know, maybe on the feet of some birds or something like that. I'm not sure. So we're going to go and have a look. We're going to ignore the rain and just pretend it's not happening, and we'll just go and have a look to see what else we can find in the meadow. So again, it's the end of the year for the meadow, and what happens at the end of the year is much fewer pollinators, and they're all dying off. So for example, the bumblebees, they're all dying off this time of year. Sometimes you'll see them growing quite grey, and then they die off, and just the queen remains, and she overwinters, normally in sort of like a hilly earth mound of loose soil. So if you haven't got any of those, or you don't know it, you can create one. We have done in the biodiversity garden in Belleville. So here I found a patch of, oh, excuse me, just move that the other way. Here I found a patch of heather. So this heather has been growing just quietly in this lawn, when it was a lawn, and now it's a wildflower meadow. It's come up in abundance, patches of it. Excuse me, I'm just moving that down. Everything's gone all slippy now because, excuse me, that's it, just looking at these heathers. So I'm going to seek shelter in a minute because it's coming down fast and furious. So that's the heather, this pink heather, two different types of heather. There's a ling heather and a bell heather. That's a ling heather, so that's the more sort of wild heather. Bell heather is the stuff that you grow normally in, that grows normally in sort of garden centres. I'm running now out of the rain. Oh, I knew it. As soon as you start to do anything, I'm retreating in here. So yes, I was just talking about the ling heather and the bell heather, and I'm just going to dry this off with my. That's it. Ling heather and bell heather. So the ling heather is what the. We'll just watch the rain here, is what the The bees absolutely love the honeybee. So this time of year is the end of the ling heather, the last, I suppose, major honey flow of the year for honeybees. So there's ling heather just at the top of Skelmily. So you'll find that there are bees that are in hives in Wemyss Bay. They will go up to the ling heather. They go up to 3 miles away, the honeybees. And that's fantastic, sort of makes fantastic sort of gelatinous. I don't know if anyone's ever had heather honey, quite gelatinous sort of honey. Hi Janet, I hope you're all right. Look at this rain. As soon as you start broadcasting, the rain comes, isn't it? Just brilliant. But actually, do you know what? There's something quite comforting, isn't there? Being inside with a cup of tea and watching the rain fall. At least I'm not getting soaked now. So I'm gonna love you and leave you today with the rain pouring down. Try and have a peaceful weekend. I think the weekend is actually going to be quite nice. So try and get out and feel that sun on your skin. Try and take a break and think about what week you've had and how your body has reacted to that week. You know, where you're stiff and sore, and is there something you can do about it? And we'll see if we can see you next week. Take care. Bye. Bye, Tracy.